everybody. My name is Box from Box and Jackalope, and at the time of this recording of the Kun-Lai Campfire, it is 11:09 p.m. This episode was not originally planned. I saw Kai enjoying himself in Wrath Classic, and as usual, I was just talking to Skoll at Discord, but welcome back for the first time in 9 months. We're back with the Kun-Lai Campfire.
Hey.
Correction, 6 months.
Ugh, I can't believe I would forget the name of the Kun-Lai Campfire, how long it's been.
It's just because it feels like it's been longer than it really has.
It does, and I think, like, that has to do with, like, all of us, like, not, like, the quality expansion, but, like, us just being stuck in the Shadowlands themselves, like, I feel like time stops there, you know what I mean?
BFA was way more fun to talk about. I'm sorry, Shadowland fans. But, you know what? I'm not sorry. Are there Shadowlands fans out there? Be sad.
I do
Skoll
like...
chose violence today.
I do like the Mythic Plus system in Shadowlands, I will say that.
Yeah, well, this is a lore podcast.
That's fair. Yeah, like I feel like this might be like a random thing to bring up, but like I feel like that's kind of been why we haven't had a lot of Kun-Lai Campfires. Is just like as fans of the lore, like Shadowlands, I don't want to talk about Sylvanas every episode, and I don't want to talk about. I certainly don't want to talk. That's fair. That's fair. You did get me there, Kai. But most importantly, none of us want to talk about Zoval.
Yes, you do.
Okay,
Yes,
I think
do.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Box will pull me aside one day and he'll be like, "You want to talk about Zoval or Garrosh?" And every single time it'll be Zoval, like all the time. He's like, "Oh, is Zoval a great character?"
Well, yeah, he's the best villain of all time, which gets us into the topic of this time, the villain of Dragonflight. So today we want to talk about what villain we think we're gonna have in Dragonflight, because the expansion opens up with a very cool like feeling of Mists of Pandaria, where we don't know. Well, we knew Garrosh was gonna be the villain from the BlizzCon, which was a big mistake, Blizzard. I'm glad you didn't tell us this time who the villain is, because it's nice now.
Yeah.
We have no idea. Like we could literally be fighting anyone, and personally, there's a couple of directions I want to go, but I'm going to start off with, like, directions I don't want the story going for antagonists. So I think the worst thing we could get this expansion is, by the end of it, like, Turalyon doing something corrupt on the Dragon Isles, and just repeating the same storyline we had with Garrosh and Sylvanas, but with the Alliance. If they were going to do that, BFA was the time to do that, not Dragon Isles. That's like my biggest not want from an antagonist in Dragonflight. I don't know if you guys would second that or disagree with that, but I'm curious what you think.
I'd say not for Dragonflight, but I'm totally down for Turalyon to be a baddie.
Yeah, at some point.
I think that Dragonflight, I feel like Dragonflight should be the expansion they build up to that, kind of like Cataclysm. But the expansion after it should be Turalyon's big score or whatever, or something, you know?
Yeah, it's what I was thinking. Like, it's possible. It's very possible, if not even likely, in my opinion, that the duration of I was gonna say Shadowlands, Dragonflight, is gonna be spent like setting up that kind of conflict. But my concern is that it's going to be like the final patch of the expansion. You know how like they turned Mists of Pandaria around, and it was completely like, you know, based on the rebellion and things like that. It could be one of those kind of plots where Dragonflight kind of turns around and is a totally different plot. I hope it doesn't go that way. I do kind of like the concept of just dealing with some regional issues, you know, like little smaller but kind of important storylines, instead of like having a big bad guy to focus on at the moment, and then just like deal like, of course, like feeding little bits of information along the way. Though, like I already said, not wanting to deal with that in just last patch, you know, I guess.
Right. I actually agree with that, Kai. Like, I think, like, if we get something that is, like, the next threat in the last patch, like, that's fine. But I also agree with, like, I like the smaller threats. Like, I think the first raid, the Vault of the Incarnates, is that the name of it? I actually really like it aesthetically, and I love that the last boss is literally just some evil dragon. Like that's really cool to me, actually, because we haven't had anything like that since, gosh, I would say arguably like, well, probably Wrath of the Lich King, right? Like Seth Arian's lair, where you just literally fought a dragon, Malagos. Like it's nice to have like a dragon boss in a raid again. It tugs on those nostalgia strings, but two, I like that it connects like to like the stuff that's happening in the Dragon Isles. I don't want to like say any character names because we're like a month from launch and people will get to experience it. I haven't gotten to play beta. I've seen stuff on Twitter and all that stuff, but yeah, I really like the theme of the Vault of the Incarnates. I think it's great, and like if they could expand on that, like I know a big thing like and a big speculation from people right now, and I think you both would love to talk about this. I've heard a lot of rumors that like Galakrond could potentially be like something, or Chromatus. I know that's a skull pick right there. Is Chromatus?
Yeah. That is a skull pick.
So like either one of those, I think would be one, a memorable last boss, but two, they could do something on a cataclysmic level, like Deathwing did. Like that's something I think would be really cool, right? And then you could have something like that. Like I actually think it would be cool if we had like some sort of like, I don't want to say like a second Cataclysm, but you know how everybody wanted Zoval to like win? Like I would love a villain that wins, but is cool, unlike Zoval, you know what I mean? That would have a presence still.
Yeah. I would say that kind of works out. Maybe it doesn't even have to be a big world-changing boss or a big world-changing defeat, but more like just a big damaging event, kind of like the Cataclysm, and I don't see why it would have to affect the entire world. I think now that we have, phasing and like, I forgot the name of it, but like where you essentially phase into different time periods of whatever zone you're in, like in the Vale and Uldum and stuff. You can like apply that to pretty much every zone now with big events, so now you can actually look into changing your world again, just update and like catch up to the times, because it is kind of odd being in a world in an Azeroth at stasis whenever like the Shadowlands and everything else is like progressed, if that makes any sense.
100%, Kai. I think the game is due for some sort of revamp after Dragon Isles, and I think what you were saying, like, I think the phasing tech is great, because one of the big appeals of Classic is you can go back to these older experiences that you might not necessarily be able to get in the modern MMO, but old Azeroth is gone from retail WoW. But with phasing, you could preserve the Cataclysm content for people that may want to time walk to that era, or they could play the new stuff, like after Dragon Isles, where, I don't know, say like Galakrond, like, throws like a giant like meteor at Azeroth or something, or he pulls a sword out or something. I don't know, but there's some cool stuff. There's some cool stuff that could happen.
That's a big Galakrond. But
I'm just imagining like, because like Galakrond is like massive, but I'm just imagining like him trying really hard to pull the sword out, and he's just like struggling, like he's like a little bird almost.
Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna get it out any day now.
I feel like that's like quite the visual right there for like something. That being said, though, what do you guys think about like a world revamp, or like, not world revamp? What do you think, Galakrond or Chromatus? I'll throw that to both of you.
Well, you know me and Chromatus. Chromatus is probably be the one villain that I am known for advocating for the most. He's Deathwing's final creation. Well, not Deathwing's final creation. Nefarian's final creation. And his only successful chromatic dragon. And like, thematic-wise, it makes so much sense to have someone like Chromatus at the very least be a mid-tier villain. Not the final villain, although I would love it if he was the final villain. But a mid-tier villain, because you have the Drakthir, you have the Dragonflights, you have the themes of all the Dragonflights need to come together and defeat something. And Chromatus is literally you can only defeat him by combining all the powers of the aspects. So that is like a perfect villain, especially for the Drakthir, who are also an experiment by the Black Dragonflight. to face him. And like Chromatus is like he's a 5-headed dragon. That just sounds cool to fight. Like Chromatus has a lot going for him. He's intelligent, he's powerful, he's got a cool design. I feel like he'd be a perfect villain for us to see again. Galakrond, I like Galakrond, but like I really feel like Galakrond needs more going for him. Because like he doesn't really have that intelligence. He's just kind of a monster that's scary. He's a kaiju. He's just a big scary monster who wants to eat everything in sight.
Oh, go ahead, Kai.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's for me. I wouldn't be too big a fan of just like another angry I want to eat and kill everything just because kind of character.
And I feel like too, like I think actually it's kind of funny, Skoll, but like weighing those two characters against each other, I think Chromatus sounds way more interesting as an antagonist than Galakrond. If we're weighing the two options there.
Like I don't hate Galakrond, and I think he could work as a really good villain. But like they need to give him depth, and like I'm basing it off of the books. And maybe they'll make Galakrond more intelligent. Maybe they'll make him more of a threat by making him actually, like, topple things over. I mean, if anything, a more an interesting villain compared to Chromatus or Galakrond, although I still think Chromatus is actually the coolest of the three, would be Murozond.
Ooh, okay.
Murozond is the alter ego of Nozdormu, when Nozdormu becomes the corrupted aspect. And we fought him in End Time and we defeated him, but we never actually see Nozdormu turn into Murozond, and this could be the perfect expansion for us to see that. And maybe Murozond succeeds, because he wants to share the time waves, and that would be kind of cool to see, because it's kind of what Zovol wanted to do, but like Zovol sucks. Like his whole we don't really get why he's doing what he's doing until the very end, and even then it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of bullshit.
Well, come on, man. He's trying to prepare us for what's to come.
Like Murozond and Zovol basically have the same goal, except you understand Murozond's plight better because you knew what he was like before this, and you want to know why he's, you know. I feel like all three of those guys are like the perfect mid-tier or final villains for Dragonflight. They might throw a curveball and throw someone new though into the mix. I don't know who that could be. Deathwing comes back.
I'd be a little like I like the implications of like Deathwing's actions, but I don't know if I'd be happy if he came back.
I'm not actually suggesting that. I'm saying a curveball and like who else could be. I mean, I do have someone in mind who isn't even a dragon, who I'd love to see in Dragonflight be a Magatha Grimtotem.
Yeah. I like that too.
She is a loose end, and I want to fight her and avenge Karen Bloodhoof. I don't get why we haven't killed her yet when she is clearly evil.
I just like how she's eyeing the Doomstone the entire time during this Shaman quest line. She's like, "Don't worry, I won't touch the nuclear weapon. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's totally fine." It's the only thing I think of whenever I see her. I just think of how she's just sitting there eyeing that Doomstone. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
I really hated how they forced you to work with her. Like, she's the enemy of the Legion too. It's like, okay, but she killed Karen. Come on.
I know. Imagine playing like a Tauren shaman. It's like I have to work with this lady.
Yeah, they had to have a Tauren character be like, this heathen, she is responsible for the death of Karen Bloodhoof. I refuse to let her in the heart of Azeroth. And Nabundo was like, I get you, man. Chill.
We got bigger fish to fry. But now those fish are fried. So...
I wonder if the original plan was to have Thrall instead of Magatha, or Agra. Agra would have been way better than Magatha.
Oh, man, 100%.
I actually would have preferred Thrall as well, but, you know, we got a cool Safe Haven cinematic in response to that.
The tension, or maybe the conflict, maybe is a better word, might have been kind of an intended thing to make things a little more interesting, even if it doesn't completely make sense, especially in the context of playing a Tauren. But
yeah, I just felt like they could have done something with that. But yeah, Magatha would be a cool mid-tier, or no, I can't see her being a final villain, but I could see her being like Lei Shen or Prophet Zul levels of bad.
That would be
That's
awesome.
that's exactly what I was gonna add. I was like, I hope she wouldn't be a big bad. I would hope she would be like a regional bad. You know, like somebody that does have some, you know, effects and like consequences on what's going on in the environment around us and stuff, but nothing too like overwhelming. I don't know how to explain where the middle ground is, but maybe like an Ashara or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the same level of Ajara, but like, again, like I could see her being like, there could be like a cinematic where like Magatha is like working with the incarnates or something, because she's all elementally and evil and who knows what, you know.
Yeah, like for her to be a raid boss, like she definitely would have to elevate above like just being a Tauren shaman. Like,
I mean, she already like helped create the Doomstone, which is already like terrifying, because even the like the elemental lords were like, this thing is too unstable for anyone to use. We're gonna watch over it.
I bet you that's gonna play a part in Dragonflight, like hands down.
That'd be so cool. One of my this is like completely off topic to what we're talking about, but one of my biggest fan theories was Thrall using the Doomstone to re-empower the Doomhammer and wielding the Doomhammer again. Because they're both called Doom. Get it? They're elemental.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Let it happen.
It's poetic, but I mean, I don't know. The name Doomstone in itself kind of sounds like it'll have a very different effect if you slam it into the Doomhammer.
You got the Doomhammer. You got the Doomstone. They'll kiss. It'll be.
And then you'll have the Doom crater underneath where they meet.
You know what? Let's just give Thrall Gorehowl and call it a day. It's just sitting there in AU Draenor somewhere.
I mean, having Thrall dual wield some axes would be badass.
Would be kind of badass, yeah. Now that you mention it, he can pick up. He can loot Garrosh's shoulder pads while he's at it. Put those on.
I kind of want to see that design now, actually.
Yeah, it would be really badass, actually.
Draka, this isn't what I meant by moving past Garrosh, Thrall.
Must become Garrosh.
There's your real end villain. The last patched villain's gonna be Thrall, but like he just suddenly agrees with everything Garrosh said. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Times change, Jaina. Thrall, what the hell? Eat a Snickers.
Siege of Orgrimmar 3.
No. If you want to talk about bad endings for an expansion, there's one right there.
Hey, Anduin, okay, who needs to use Charlemagne this time?
Oh my god.
It's Etrig instead.
Oh my god. I'm dying right now.
Well,
I can't stand it.
This conversation definitely went somewhere. Sylvanas shows up, wields Charlemagne, and fights Thrall.
No. Oh my god, this is cursed. This has officially become cursed.
She's like swinging at him. I fought alongside Volpera and High Mountain and others. You are nothing like them. Thrall just yells, "They are no longer a part of my horde!" I probably said that incorrectly, but yeah. There you go, there's your curse.
Damn, am I agreeing with Thrall now? Ugh.
You gotta do it like this.
Oh.
They are no longer part of my horde!
There you go.
Yeah. We're there's a mission idea for you. You have Thrall acting like Garrosh, and like Augur comes in and is just like, eat a Snickers, and then Thrall turns from Garrosh and back into Thrall, and he's like, and Augur's like, better, and then Thrall goes, better.
I don't know why that seems like something Jackalope would animate.
Yeah, I could see that too.
So, to get back to the Dragon Isles, I think Magatha's a good villain. Chromatus, I would love Chromatus after that talk, and Galakrond. Those are like three, like I think like for sure. Something that I'm gonna say that I don't want, but I'm concerned with a little bit, is I don't want like, you know, like the Stony Tony guy. I don't want like one of
Yeah?
those guys to just randomly show up like Argus at the end or something, and then be like really
that is-
cryptic. That's something I'm worried about.
I'm very this was something I wanted to harken on when you were talking about it. I don't mind them not telling us upfront who the villain is at like BlizzCon or something, but I hate, and I mean hate, surprise villains. Like, build up to the villain, yes. Do a surprise villain like N'Zoth, Archimonde, who else? Who was the other guy? N'Zoth, Archimonde. I know
gosh,
there's another
N'Zoth
one.
got done dirty so bad.
There's a third one. What was the third surprise villain in WoW? Let's see, did we ever have a surprise? Argus. I hate Argus.
Yeah.
Argus was awful. One of the worst final WoW villains. At least I can understand Archimonde and N'Zoth to some extent, but Argus was so out left field. I did not like him. He did not feel like he earned his spot as the final villain of Legion.
And he was linked to Zoval too.
Well, that's there's some dirty water now because of that. Like, he looks cool, but like there's no build up. So we need the villain in Dragonflight to have some build up.
Well, I think I know who it actually is, Ban.
is
Zoval's actually a dragon now. So
I was waiting for you to make that joke, and I'm still disappointed.
I actually thought it was going to be some variation of Mansaroy, like an undead Mansaroy this time, but
Yeah, no, he doesn't talk about Mancer anymore. It's all Zoval with
it's all
bots now.
Zoval. He's moved
got,
on to another bald.
I know, it's always like a bald character, it seems like.
He's
So anyway, now that we're done talking about our favorite villain, Zoval, I'm gonna just throw this one to both of you, because we're getting near the 30-minute mark that we're trying to aim for. Since like we kind of covered most of the villains, we'll do a little bit of a general one. In the patches, what characters would you like to see fight against said villains? Like, what do you hope you see a lot of faction involvement? Do you want like another Argent Crusade? Like, what are you looking for in terms of like character involvement with these antagonists?
You want to take that first one, Kai? Because I took the last one first.
Sure. So I'm obviously a big fan of like racial, cultural interactions. That's definitely something I'd love to see kind of emphasized here. With the factions obviously still continuing and probably going to for the foreseeable future, it'd be cool to see some like focus just on the individual, like you know, you got your Forsaken expedition, you've got your Huojin Tushui expedition, you know, just seeing how they maybe interact if they are both in like the same zone or similar zones. And they've got to work together, or they have differing missions, maybe their missions like have conflicts with one another. I know it's very broad, but I don't know, I'd just like to see how I want to see like more grounded lore like that again. I want to see some development whenever it comes to actual just races and cultures and such. But yeah.
I feel that, Kai. I second that about the Huojin and the Tishui.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very obvious one. I know I'm not elaborating much, but with there being kind of a, if uneasy peace right now, you know, maybe they have to work together to do something, and it's just kind of a cool interaction. I do. Sorry?
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, I think, like, if they're gonna introduce the Pandaren into the fray, this is the expansion to do it. Like, more so than BFA.
Yeah, especially with how much they relate with what's going on.
I was actually thinking about something that kind of annoyed me, Kai, and I haven't played beta at all, but I haven't seen a single person post anything about G Firepaw when we have a new race in the Horde, and he's supposed to be like the ambassador now. So that's really bad if that was overlooked, in my opinion. Like, really bad.
I think he's supposed to be in charge of the allied races and not all of the races in the recruitment. That's just my assumption.
My thing is just like I think it's just one of those fears I had whenever they were kind of announcing allied races and like greatly expanding the number of new playable races in a sense. Is like, don't get me wrong, having more diversity and stuff is very good. However, now you've got so much more to focus on, and like, when you have so many playable races, like, how do you really flesh out the ones you've currently got anymore? So it's like, yeah, G Firepaw could get some focus, but then what about Mela? Then, you know, what about literally every other faction leader? Especially since there's so many. Like, what about Kiro?
Right, right. I guess
like,
fair.
Who's Kiro? Most people would ask, but the answer is
I forgot
the
about
War
him.
Harness sale. Oh, I was gonna say the War Harness sale, merchant. Haha, I'm funny. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I'll throw it to Ban now.
Sure. I might have misinterpreted your question. I maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. You were asking what characters you would like to see like join in the conflict against these villains?
Yep.
Is that it? So using the ones we use as an example, obviously the dragon aspects are perfect for any of these, actually all of these really, because, you know, this should be the dragon aspects time to shine, let them do shit, let them do stuff. Rathian's an easy one. Rathian, you know, he started a lot of conflicts, now he's kind of ending them, like he ended N'Zoth, so it'd be really good to see Rathian step up to the plate and be more prominent, be more active as he was in Battle for Azeroth. Again, Rathian and BFA, I know people do not like 8.3, and they have every right to dislike it, but Rathian in 8.3 was, like, so good for his character. Like, you could see that the character changed so much. I wish we actually got to see that character get that development, but he was good. But in regards to, like, characters like Magatha, I want Bane to step up to the plate. I want Bane to finally... Bane got done dirty so bad in Shadowlands, so I would love to see him be very active against someone like Magatha, because Magatha took his father away, and he spared her life, and ever since he spared her life, she still has been on a, you know, a parade of conflict. You know, she's trying to create so many things to help get her in power. So I feel like Bane is the perfect character to take her down finally. And then Chromatus, just throw Thrall back into the mix. I want Thrall to make a return. He doesn't need to be the Earth Warder, but I loved his interactions with the dragons in the books. And I know some people don't like that, but I like that he's friends with the dragon aspects, and I think it'd be really weird if he's absent from the entirety of the expansion. He doesn't need to do a lot, just like, I just want him to kind of be there to, you know, fight on the behalf of the aspects. Plus, I really like it when the orcs do something good for the red dragons after what they did to the red dragons in the Second War. So it'd be really cool to have Thrall kind of represent the orcs and show, like, the dragons, hey, orcs aren't bad.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, actually. I think, one, Rathian is, like, almost a given at this... Well, he is, like, a given in the expansion. So, like, I agree that, like, his development at 8.3, regardless of the quality of, like, the ending of that patch, was, like, awesome. Like, amazing stuff for the lore. And, like, big problem with Rathian is I wish they had used him, like, in, like, WoD more and Legion and stuff. Like, not a problem, but it would have been nice to see, like you were saying, that progression. But I'm glad we're getting to see him here. And yeah, the dragon aspects are good. I think Thrall definitely needs to have a heavy role this expansion. Yeah, just given his history in Cataclysm, it'd be a nice throwback too. But other than that, I think we about covered the topic of this podcast. So gentlemen, thank you very much for coming back on today. Hopefully we can do more of these soon.
Maybe a little earlier in the day.
Yeah. And
maybe not impromptu like we just did.
me not just messaging Kai while he's just enjoying himself innocently on Wrath Classic. Hey Kai, you want to do the Kun-Lai Campfire?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here like, huh? Like, I gotta be awake in like 4 hours, but sure. I'm just kidding. Not
Oh,
really.
crap.
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
But yeah, gents, thank you very much for being on. Ban, stay Rexar. Kai, stay Chen. In Box, stay, I don't know which character. But we'll see you guys next time.
Oh my god, I forgot that we should have Rexar and Chen. No!
Garrosh as well on this podcast, so we gotta mention him every time.
And G-Fabro. Oh, or, actually, Cho.
We mentioned
Walker Cho.
him.
Lord Walker Cho. Lord Walker Cho.
There we
That's
go,
how
there we
do
go.
that.
We're good.
He's a dragon, by the way. Anyway.
Bye.
Bye.